My name is Zach Hanz, and I run the product marketing team here at Dscout. And I'm always super excited to talk to this community because it's just full of people who care so much about the products they build and how they make sure they're truly serving the end user and making their lives better in some way. Similar to Bridget, it's why I joined this company because I could really get behind that cause. And at Dscout, like she said, we actually try to get to do the exact same thing for all of you. We have to follow great UX practices to help you all improve your own UX and make more impactful, more human business decisions. So I'm coming to you from Denver, Colorado today, and I'm here to talk about all those exciting updates that our team's been making to the platform over this past year and what's coming soon to really help your organization level up their research. But before we dive in, I'd like to just quickly orient ourselves around how the Dscout platform is built, since we likely have a lot of new folks here. So this is a high-level look at what Dscout does. We built the platform to support the entire research process end to end. So it's not just the research itself in that field bucket, usability, prototype testing, and survey style tools in Express, or interviews with our live tool. And it's not just our bread and butter differentiator in Dscout Diary. It's everything from finding and recruiting the right people to talk to in the first place with our industry leading participant pool. It's the operational work of how you manage the process and organize it all. It's the rich data analysis. And ultimately, it's kind of all for naught if you're not sharing your findings with decision makers to validate or invalidate whatever hypothesis you're testing. So Dscout enables all of that end to end. And that process, that life cycle is what we're relentlessly seeking to improve with these updates I'm about to take you through. So let's start things off with what we're calling our evaluative evolution. Being known for diary historically, a lot of exciting foundational and generative types of research happen in Dscout, but we've been making massive strides in evaluative. And really, all of that has been driven by you, our users and prospective users, and your push to get more of what you need in a single tool, so that you can consolidate and save your company money as budgets get tighter. And there's a high bar for evaluative capabilities, and we're really excited to not just meet it, but really leap over it. So just before this event last year, we really changed the game by adding usability testing to our arsenal. And as you can see here, that means all the task questions, task metrics, and heat maps that your teams would expect. And we've only continued to build upon that and expand it throughout the year, adding mobile support, task success validation, and more. So it really has evolved into a solution that you can, truly rely on to fill that need and help consolidate your tool stack. And while we're thrilled about our new mobile usability solution, I want to be clear that we're not stopping there. So coming very soon, you'll see some exciting additions to help you capture the full journey and just better understand the context of how people flow between tasks. So this means things like continuous recording and talk out loud questions on mobile to better match our desktop usability experience. It means the ability to open prototypes and links in-app to track where users tap and swipe as they navigate. And we'll also be adding the ability to record both the screen and the camera at the same time so that you can see users' reactions while also seeing what it is they're reacting to. Again, a huge step in just providing the same experience across both mobile and desktop and just providing everything you need for your usability tests. Now, I want to zoom out from our usability solution for just a second to look at our broader evaluative offering. So we've been adding a laundry list of new features to give you all the options and flexibility you need. First, with piping. Piping lets you recall answers from previous questions for just more intelligent and streamlined study design. And just a couple months ago, we released question groups along with randomization to allow you to keep multiple prototypes or concepts together and analyze the data in a combined view, but also to randomize the order they appear in to help eliminate any bias, which is, of course, especially important in concept testing. And then this last one here for relaunching a closed study. This is brand new as of like a week or so ago, I believe. And this lets you bring people into your tests in waves as needed. So let's say you want to run a test on a small sample of people to learn and iterate before rolling it out to the larger audience. Or maybe you start a study and realize it's a big ask and you need to offer a larger incentive to fill it. This gives you that option. So next, card sorting gets its own focus here because of just how significant this is. Closed card sort came out right around this time last year, and we more recently added open and hybrid card sort options, allowing participants to create their own categories. And it's been really fun to see customers use this to just, gauge how people understand or think about various concepts. Um, with that, though, we know it can get a little messy when you zoom out on hundreds of responses. So we also automatically merge categories with matching titles and have a really versatile analysis view to help you quickly identify the trends. And to close us out on this section, I've got to highlight Figma for the design teams out there. Dscout was at Config this year and made a big splash with our Figma integration. This lets you add your prototypes for usability tests and see how users interact with them. You can manage and edit your task URLs, get heat maps of where people are clicking, and most recently, you can now set a success URL or success screen to automatically track the completion of a task versus, say, like relying on people to self-report. It's really exciting stuff that we're pretty stoked to keep building upon with our Figma partnership. So if there's more you'd want to see there, we absolutely want to hear it. So light up the chat, reach out to your contact at Dscout. We want to hear it. Okay, so our next section is all about collaboration. You can see what we did there. There are a lot of teams in the org who benefit from research or get involved in various ways. For example, my team, product marketing, is a key collaborator with research, product, and design. We're in our own Dscout account all the time to learn from previous studies, sit in on interviews, or even run research of our own, with Julie's blessing and expertise, of course. And we heard some great talks yesterday about expanding your influence. So I want to take a look at what Dscout has done and will be doing to help you on that front, to create the impact you want in the way you want, and just better unlock insights across the organization. So first and foremost here probably is video upload. We just released this at the start of the month, and it's a huge step in letting your team run research however they see fit. From our conversations, we've found that some designers prefer live interviews to setting up an unmoderated usability test. Just less risk associated with that. But the scheduling aspect can feel daunting versus just, say, hopping on a call. And at the same time, more and more teams are looking to go back to true field work. So now you can choose to use our interview tool, or you can use Zoom, Hangouts, whatever tool you want, and simply then just upload the recording to Dscout, get your transcript, and benefit from all of our analysis and share out tools to make sense of the data, track trends across the interviews, and really put your findings to use by stitching together the most compelling clips with our playlist builder. And speaking of our playlist builder, this is an addition that's actually so new I couldn't even add an image to the slide for it. But just yesterday, we added subtitles or captions to our playlist builder and highlight reels. Meeting accessibility standards is incredibly important to us, and this is just the latest step so that when you're sharing those videos with stakeholders, you've got that extra level of control to just meet everyone's needs. And next here is the very sexy auto provisioning. Maybe a bit technical, but I promise someone in your org cares really deeply about this. I guarantee Carl, our VP of cybersecurity, is pumped right now. But a lot of you have enterprise level expectations and security standards. And this update lets you quickly, easily, and securely just manage new and removed users' access to Dscout. So whether that's via Okta or another identity provider you might use, you've got total control and can really streamline that process to keep things running smoothly as the team evolves. We've also got some more advanced permission settings available with this contributor role. So this was really built for teams with growing demands who need, less experienced researchers or even non-researchers to run their own studies. And it gives you some optional guardrails for quality control. The gist is this role has access to specific study types and certain recruitment options. And then you also have the option to require review of their studies before launch. We've seen it be a really great fit for designer product teams. It really just depends on how you choose to, divvy up or structure the work. And then last here, excuse me, I talked about our Figma integration a few minutes ago, but we've also seen updates to our full suite of integrations to just better help the team, work where they already are. So with Slack, you can share videos to humanize your findings and get alerts for things like new studies going live or when submissions come in. And now you can get alerts about comments in your study drafts to keep everyone in the know and really streamline the process of collaboratively building studies. There's also our Miro integration to embed video clips right into your Miro boards for deeper analysis or to just help make your findings resonate. But one thing I want to give a little bit more attention to is our release of team workspaces. So team workspaces are separate environments within a single Dscout account for different departments or business units to operate independently. Again, being that like enterprise grade solution, we run into this quite a bit. There are a lot of very large organizations with very complex research needs, different teams with their own programs, headcounts, and budgets. And so what you see here is that you've got quick visibility and access to the teams you're a part of. You can designate workspace leads to manage each space and control the settings and permissions to do whatever makes the most sense for you. But most importantly, you can then independently track your support hours, activity credits, and incentive balances really easily to manage everything just more conveniently at the team level and give more teams access to Dscout without the risk of interfering with each other's work. And to close out this section, I want to talk about one more thing that's coming soon that we're all pretty pumped about. Question banks has been a top request from our customers, and I'm really excited to share that we heard you. This actually just went into beta, so very soon you'll have access to this shared resource to save a list of pre-approved questions. And this is just huge for speeding up the process of getting studies up and running, right? Less guesswork or blank slate overwhelm. But it's also about scaling the quality of research, right? So as more novice users come on board or designers run tests of their own to keep up with demand, you can give them that list of the same standard approved questions to pull from to ensure quality control, avoid bias, and so on. Okay, continuing on, um, we can't really talk about research without talking about the people you run that research with. It can make or break a project and really be the difference between signal and noise or meaningful insight and garbage data. Garbage in, garbage out, right? And at Dscout, probably the biggest thing that sets us apart, according to our customers, is the quality of our participant pool, or scouts as we call them. Scouts are really a different caliber of research participant, and maintaining that quality is kind of what keeps us up at night. Thinking about the convergence of these three critical aspects. And oftentimes it can be a trade-off. You might be able to get two at the expense of the third, but that's just not really acceptable to us. So I'm going to talk through these three pillars and how we've been addressing them so that you don't have to sacrifice or make that trade-off. So first, on the quality front, a huge perk of Dscout is your ability to handpick people. If you need proof that someone holds a specific job or has purchased a certain product, you can have them upload pictures to prove they are who they say they are, or you can request videos that act almost like an audition tape for your study. But our pool is also actively managed. So fraud detection and prevention is always a hot topic in our industry. And we continue to fine tune our efforts there with new device fingerprinting, time zone checks, phone number verification, and so much more. And in the past year or so, AI has of course become more of a concern on that front. Does it offer a cheat code to speed through studies faster? And while we haven't really seen issues with that, we did release some initial AI prevention tools to block copy paste when someone's completing a study to just give you that peace of mind. And then lastly here, we continue to invest in how we programmatically match participants to research. And that means a lot more than just demographics, right? It means understanding who's more likely to complete a quick usability test versus a more time-consuming longitudinal study. Or maybe you want to set a frequency cap so that someone only gets 3 research studies in a year from your company. It means understanding and accounting for the scarcity of a particular persona type. There's a lot of data that we will continue to consider to match the best people so that you get the best outcomes. Okay, so the next of those 3 pillars is speed. And frankly, we all know that you just need to move incredibly fast to keep up with the pace of business. On the bottom here, we of course have the option to auto recruit to quickly identify the right people who are live in the app looking for opportunities. Of course, accounting for all that data-driven matching I just went over on the last slide. But we've also got expanded profiles with more than 60 new targeting attributes to just better match folks or help us notify, the right participants who might not currently be in the app. And even more recently, we also released time estimates to just help you better gauge how much of an ask your study really is for participants. So these were already available on the participant side, but now by sharing it with you right next to your chosen incentive amount, you just get a better sense of their experience and if it's a fair ask, if you're fairly rewarding them for the work. And then lastly here, coming soon will be the option to skip the review of your screeners by our team so that you can start filling your studies even faster. Our team of research advisors is often seen as an extension of your own team, and customers love that level of partnership. But sometimes you're just on a tight deadline and need insights fast, and we're committed to helping you do that. Okay, and last but not least on our list of non-negotiables here is scale. So sometimes it's just inevitable that you'll need to go beyond our people. Either your target audience will be so niche, or you'll want to just run research on your own users. Those are already options in Dscout, and we continue to focus on just making it even easier. So starting with our Bring Your Own or BYO experience, our latest update there was removing the need for a password. So when you need to invite your own users, we're now making it as frictionless as possible. But see, some even bigger things are coming in 2025. We'll be releasing new options for deeper specialty targeting to just open up more participants, both domestically and internationally. And for when you're running regular or recurring research on your own audience, we're also continuing to build upon our acquisition of PanelFox last year. Customers are already using our private panels add-on to, manage communication with panelists, set fatigue and frequency controls, and take advantage of integrations with other tools to invite people to their Qualtrics studies, for example. And we're in the midst of developing even deeper integrations within Dscout to just make it a more seamless experience for both you and the participant right inside the platform. So going back to the big 3, that's just some of what we're doing to make sure you no longer have to accept those typical trade-offs that have become the norm. And we have entire in-house teams dedicated to maintaining and improving it. Okay, so we are right about at the point where if you're familiar with Dscout, you're probably wondering, like, what about diary? Isn't diary like your thing? And you'd be right. I mentioned our scout quality in the last section, but if there's anything else we're even better known for, it's for being the diary study solution. When you need longitudinal work to capture insights over time, there's nowhere else you go. And because of that, Dscout Diary is really where some of the most influential research in the world is happening. But what's that unification piece about then? Well, ultimately, it's about building a consistent experience across the entire Dscout platform so that it's easier to learn and faster to use. Let me go a little bit deeper. So going back to that overview of our platform that I shared at the start, Dscout really started here. Everything else that I've shared up to this point with moderated interviews in our live tool, usability and Figma prototype testing in our Express tool, that's all been added through our innovation over the years to really expand our offering and make Dscout the platform where you can manage all of your research needs. But Diary was our cornerstone product. I had a conversation just the other day with a customer about the car buying experience, about how, in her view, a usability test will never cut it for that sort of thing where the purchasing process takes place over so much time and in so many different places. Dscout Diary was the only way for her team to get meaningful insights. And it's built on this foundation of multiple entries, multiple activities. You follow people over time or have them submit a video, a photo, or answer a few questions every time they cook or shop or whatever over days, weeks, or even months. It's been wildly successful because of that power and flexibility. But with that, comes a lot of complexity and can require a little cognitive brain power and creative thinking on how to make it work for you. So if you have the simplicity of our Express, media survey, and usability tools on the left here, and the flexibility of Diary on the right, you currently have two separate, distinct tools. So we have this conundrum to solve. How do you marry that powerful flexibility with the simplicity of the rest of Dscout? The short answer is that you bring them together. And I want to briefly walk you through some of our early thinking on this. So I mentioned that Diary was built around this concept of multiple entries and multiple activities. And as we've added usability testing and more to the platform, we've been creating these specific purpose-built, focused activities with guided setup and tailored analysis views. You can think of these as use cases for the type of research you're trying to accomplish. So when we unify our two unmoderated tools, we really move into a world where all the new capabilities I mentioned earlier, card sorting, heat maps, randomization, and more, are all also available for your diary studies or multi-activity research. What this really comes down to on our side is everything living in a single code base, which just means a wildly accelerated pace of innovation. So we're already top rated on G2 for product direction, and this really just unlocks even more. So in this new simplified Dscout, you have consistent setup flows and hyper-targeted analysis to make it even easier for novice researchers or non-researchers like designers and PMs to just quickly get in, get what you need, get out, and tackle your other work. And you still get all that powerful longitudinal flexibility by stacking together those purpose-built research activities or use cases like you see here. And we'll be continuing to build out that use case library. But of course, more advanced users will always have the option to just build from scratch and really make the platform work for them. Okay, so that is just a little glimpse behind the curtain, but I want to close us out on everyone's favorite trending topic, AI. And for that, I actually want to hand it off to our in-house experts and VP of Emerging Products, Jonathan Fairman, to tell us about everything Dscout has been doing and will be doing in 2025. So I thank you all for the time, and floor is yours, Jonathan.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Going to get control of the screen. There we are. Hello. Thank you for spending some time with us today. My name is Jonathan Fairman. I'm a product leader here at Dscout, and I've really focused on our AI efforts for about a year. Now, just a touch about me. I started at Dscout 9 years ago. And as Zack was touching on, 9 years ago, the idea of a remote diary study was groundbreaking. And as someone who started their career many, many moons ago, right, some of my first research jobs were sending people disposable wind-up cameras and custom diaries and return envelopes. So for me, it was super invigorating to get to be a part of leading this big shift in our industry. And now here we are, afoot another major change. With AI, we're on the forefront of some incredible shifts and some really exciting opportunities. So my session goal with you over the next 15 minutes or so is to kind of share what we've done, where we're going with AI, and kind of why we're pursuing this path. So I think to get into this kind of technology, you really need to ground yourself in some principles, right? The rate of change that we've seen in foundational AI, it's immense. 18 months ago, we thought it was great because we could write a song for our mother's birthday. And now it's found its way into many of our daily workflows and helping us do our jobs as well as in moments in outside of work. And these new opportunities and considerations, they're emerging by the week. And it's really important to temper this rapid change by employing a few principles as we experiment and think about and deliver AI-based features. So our first is really about supporting and enhancing the user. This is very much with you, not in place of you. How can we help you peek around the corner, save a little time, make the most use of your expertise? The next is transparency and control. Fundamentally, you need to know when AI is being used, whether that's design systems or labeling, the ability to hide and control, hide and show when something manifests in the interface, to the nuanced detail of tracking back to where that data came from to help make those kind of summaries and themes that you'll see. And then lastly, we think about safety and security. Of course, in the research space, since day one, it's been paramount, right? We deal with so much personal and proprietary information, and we've always taken that very seriously. But with AI, we're adding very much new data pipelines that demand very much very serious rigor around those, as well as many, frankly, countless end user considerations, from as bad as harm to as ugly as inaccuracy. And so just making sure this is always top of mind for us. But fundamentally, or kind of wrapped around all of that, really the ethos that we operate in here as a product team at Dscout is resisting the urge to rush. That does not mean we're hustling. I can tell you, I know a big team of people who don't feel like we're not rushing. We're really working hard and we're working fast. But this powerful nascent technology requires a principled approach. And so I think it's really important to understand, making sure what we're putting out in your hands is a really viable, meaningful product. All right, so the great news is we shipped AI analysis in Q3. We had worked on it for about a year. It was a very, very serious effort, frankly, made so successful by the feedback of many, many beta participants. I'm sure many of you on this call today. And we're really thrilled it's delivering on the promise of breaking that trade-off between speed and quality. Now, we started with analysis predominantly because it's a very time-consuming and often overwhelming moment in the research journey. But it was a very clear space where in our research with you, you told us you want Dscout to start here and you trust us to support you. So, of course, by saving you time in this phase, it's really about allowing you to focus more of your energy on the synthesis and storytelling and consensus building moments that are so important. And of course, the million other things you and your teams manage. Now, there are basically two main components to this offer: summaries and themes. And so let's go ahead and jump into those. So the first here is this ability to zoom out, get that 10,000-foot view of each live interview and all of your open-ended questions in Express and Diary. And so we all have had that moment, that quell of overwhelm when we get all the data we asked for. We're so excited, but also unsure where to start. We have dozens, maybe even hundreds of rich, detailed responses. And it's these summaries that we're creating that really let you go from kind of that moment of overwhelm to just a clear, high-level overview of what people are saying. This is not to radically change kind of outcomes, but to just help you save some time and make sure you're on the right track. So those very easy to digest summaries prove to be very helpful at a high level. Now, like summaries, our AI themes provide a great jumping off point for your analysis activities, saving you many hours per mission by letting you zoom in rapidly. And I think really importantly, like our theme generation pipeline assesses not just all the responses and kind of cross-comparing and assessing those, those are, of course, video transcripts and open ends, but also the prompt's intent and the question structure is a very important part of making sure we're delivering great results. Additionally, we've got the data, but we've also had the feedback to know that one thing our users really love about this feature is it's looking across all responses. And certainly, everyone here has had that moment where you've got so much content, you can't look at it all. You don't have the time. And so this is sort of a helpful step to let you know, cool, I've got a jumping off point that is accounted for all of the input into my research. Additionally, back to that transparency piece, you can't just present a bunch of themes and say, these are the themes. We're presenting a bunch of themes that we believe are a good starting point, but we also need to show you all of the evidence. So each theme you can filter in, see those responses, see the exact text that was used in collaboration with all of the responses, to generate those themes. That transparency and traceability, we believe, is very important. Now, these summaries, these themes become very helpful starting points, but to really extend their value through your whole analysis and synthesis phases, we've got a few additional features. So the AI themes can be mission level filters. So something that really came to life in a single response, and you want to understand how that played out across the entire mission, you can use it as a filter. You can refine the themes. Maybe the vernacular that came out of the technology, because AI is stochastic and it's always pretty good, but it's not always, it's rarely perfect. Maybe you want to just change the language to better meet your stakeholders or to adopt some of the more in-house vernacular. Additionally, you might find you want to delete a theme. It may be a touch misleading. It may be kind of unhelpful in the area of study that you're focused on. And so that way you can just kind of remove it from your set. And then finally, bulk exports. And I think the joke is if you have 10 researchers, you've got 50 different approaches to analysis. And so the bulk exports let you also just ensure that this data is extensible to support all the various ways you like to make sense of it. So all of this is available now, but what I'm really excited about is kind of where we're taking this. So moving quickly into 2025, we're adding AI summaries and themes to all question types. So that's predominantly our close-ended and our photo and a couple of more. So here in this example, the photo question is so exciting because we know that a photo is rich with information. In this example, a scout was asked to shoot a picture of their favorite place to listen to music. And you can see in that text the inventory of objects, the nature of the scene, and you can imagine how that builds up into a great collection of summary and searchable content that can really help you break down rich content quickly. However, I've got to admit the area I'm most excited about that's coming next is that we're evolving our AI analysis suite in the task question. And it's a keystone component to evaluative testing. And like the photo question, we're bringing in computer vision to extract what the user is doing as much as what they're saying. So we're going to see summaries and themes across the tasks. We're going to have the ability to kind of apply sentiment and interesting moment categories to different things happening in these tasks. And then drilling in deeper to each unique user's experience, we can highlight and create clips based on some of these very interesting moments. So we're really excited to bolster our evaluative tests and capabilities with the advent of these AI capabilities. So that was a lot, and I'm just getting going. What's so important is for everything is to get your hands on it. So I really encourage you to reach out to your contacts at Dscout to have a free AI trial. We've seen both time-saving feedback as well as sort of trust and quality feedback. We're off to a really wonderful start and really encourage you all to get your hands on it. So let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked a lot about structured analysis and an AI that's often very helpful. The context setting really allows you to get, the more context you can set, the more quality you can have. But the reality is, and from conversations with you all, there's really a desire to have a conversation with your research, right? We've learned that you want to be in dialogue with your data. We really believe this capability is game-changing. So we're going to be launching an AI chat-based research assistant to give you control and further help you save time and improve the outcomes of your team's impact. Now, this video has no talk track. I am the talk track, but this is very, very real. So our AI pilot research assistant can let you rapidly probe your study with tailored inquiries, right? So you can ask those questions across your mission to surface those trends that are woven in between questions. And I think the reality is great research yields so many new questions. And so this is a very, very natural extension of our analysis capabilities. And certainly you've needed to seek the themes and dig deeper for evidence. You've needed to test a hypothesis, right? Do you need to get quotes and themes about brands? Do you need to be in control? Do you need to save time? All of this is very much a yes, 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 and yes kind of situation. And really excited to see how this matures over 2025 to support your needs. Now, Along with these, I had mentioned context. Managing the context of any AI capability is very important. And our goal here is to allow you to select the context you feel is most important. So whether you're analyzing a mission, or you need to analyze across missions, or even kind of general knowledge, and you want to kind of dialogue with an AI, and maybe input some other documentation to help assess how you can improve maybe your analysis moments, or even earlier in the researcher phases. There's a lot you can do here when you can control the context. So really just thrilled to put this in people's hands. Okay, this is where I have to take a pause. I love what I do here at Dscout. I love what you all do as people making more human tomorrow. So just to wrap up this section, certainly we've got all of our new summary and AI capabilities. Those are very real, and you can get your hands on them today, and very excited to get more and more people engaged with our research assistant pilot. Now, I want to get into sort of the dessert of what it means to be product people here, and talk about some of the stuff that's outside of this sphere, but coming next. So I've talked so much about the analysis moment. The reality is there's a lot of value to be gained and a lot of support you can get from this technology, but we also all know that these capabilities can really help you do things like draft studies or manage participants. Where we've been experimenting and believe we can enable you to make more kind of dynamic research is in the fielding phase. So again, we've been investing heavily in evaluative over the last couple of years, and I want to show you one example of something we're very excited about, because it's going to be able to make your usability studies much better. It's going to take all these capabilities I just talked about and let you worry far less about that tightly structured research that is always required in unmoderated studies, and create situations where you can be much more dynamic and create lines of questions that historically could only been done if you were on every single call or in every single session. So we've been doing this for a while. We've got a technology where we've been testing, and we're essentially injecting contextual prompts in unmoderated studies. In this example, it was a study, again, another music technology study. And after that task was complete, we have a very rapid pipeline that's assessing what that person did and what that person said. And we're just feeding them follow-up questions that are unique to them. And if you look at these are very real questions. These are precise. These are sharp. Now, these are not mind-blowing questions. It's exactly what you'd want to ask, or what your designers asking if you're trying to really build a big team. But you can't do this kind of querying unless you're there. And that's why we're so excited about this, because it will really enable you and your stakeholders to have better data, more efficiently uncovered, so you can focus more of your energy on scaling the reach and the impact of your practice. So we see this as a really powerful way to essentially get lines of questioning that traditional unmoderated studies just can't do. All right, I want to wrap up with just a couple of points here. First, maybe the most important thing to remember is that we at Dscout want to work with you. Kate mentioned at the beginning, we believe in customer-led innovation. We make a research product. It is imperative, and frankly, we're spoiled by having users that know what we're trying to do. So this is very important to us. It's how great products are made. If AI excites you, if AI terrifies you, if you want to get involved with our pilots, if you want to get involved with the development of everything we do, we invite you to become a Dscout influencer by joining our research panel. Right? This is really our platform to engage with you and have your thoughts inform our roadmap and our product. So on behalf of our entire product organization, thank you for all the feedback over the years and the feedback to come. Really appreciate it.